This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, February 28th. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home innovation, home technology, beeps.
So many beeps.
I hope they can hear that.
Before we started the show today, we had I had an alarm going off, and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And so I finally went and found it, and I changed the battery on it, and I came back, and I still heard the noise for some reason. Not really sure why.
I don't know either.
Come to find out, Seth was playing it on his computer because he's a jerk like that. I was like, no, I just replaced these batteries. They're good.
TJ was very angry there for a minute.
Yes.
I was so angry. Well, it's even more annoying too because I have Z-Wave smoke detectors, and all of them said that all the batteries were above 70%, so they shouldn't be beeping at all. So if you don't hear from me in a couple of days, it might be a carbon monoxide alarm instead.
This is your friendly reminder. Go and change your batteries on your smoke alarm detectors. You're supposed to do it every so often, right?
Well, and I don't know if this is like true with all smoke detectors, but I had to get I have the First Alert Z combo, Z-Wave smoke combo, smoke alarms, whatever they are. And I had to get one of them replaced because it just kept going off. It'd like freak out in the middle of the night. And when I called into support, I don't remember the exact thing, but the lady was like, "Oh, do you clean them every week and test them every week?"
Every
I'm
week?
Like, no, who does that? And she's like, well, technically, you're supposed to clean them and test them every week. And stop. That's not a real thing.
No, I don't know anybody that does it every week.
Never heard that.
Maybe they say when you change your clocks back or, then you test them or change them, but I don't even do it then. I forget.
I would think like 2 or 3 times a year, you probably want to test them, right? Just because, you want to make sure life safety stuff works, but not every week.
During daylight savings time switchover is a good time to do it, though. Our phones and stuff do it automatically now, so, you don't even think about it.
It's next weekend, so.
Is it really?
Yep. Well,
is
it's
it?
Here, yeah. I don't know what Canada's doing these days.
Oh, by the time this show gets released by you, it was last weekend.
Exactly.
Do you guys even have daylight savings time up there?
Yeah, but it's apparently we're getting tariffed on it, so it's good. We don't turn it back as much anymore. we don't get the same amount of value on the hour anymore.
It's gonna be an hour and a half back instead.
I know. Yeah. They robbed us of that extra bit of sleep.
Yeah, they moved it up to like 7 a.m, so you don't actually get to sleep. You're still waking up. Just waking up early.
I mean, the only reason I know it exists because we have a microwave and we have a stove, and those have analog clocks, so we have to change those. So does the car. So everything else though is automatic these days.
I gave up on the stove. The stove just has the wrong time, and the microwave, if I don't touch it, it doesn't have a clock on it. It just, if you go and mess with it, it'll put the clock on it. But like if you mess with the time, it'll have a clock and it'll be wrong. Mm-hmm. But I just figured out if you don't change the time on it, it just has a blank screen. And that's what it should have. Well, I don't know why they have clocks on them.
My microwave has a blank screen. My stove has the time of whenever power was last cut.
Exactly.
It, so we never touch it.
This is the smart appliance I can get behind though. I don't need to know if if I have like turkey in my fridge or eggs in my fridge. I want it just to automatically adjust the time.
I've been complaining about this for years.
You make smart appliances, just make it adjust the time. That's all.
I don't even need a time on it. Like, why do I have a time on the stove? I don't need one.
I find that useful, but we have the microwave above the stove, and so I really don't need both. But I do like having an analog clock or some kind of clock in the kitchen.
Does it ever bug you if they're both like off by a minute or something like that?
No, I don't have that kind of personality disorder. So,
okay. They have that I think it's like an AM transmission or something like that. That it's like a low frequency NIST transmission or something. I think it's an AM that like pulses the time that it is. And what was it, like the Sharper Image had like those clocks out for the last 20 or 30 years that like would be atomic clock synced or whatever. And you'd never even have to worry about daylight saving time with them. They're like,
yeah.
If you go to your grandparents' house, they have these clocks, right?
We have one.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I'm not a grandparent, but
But it's like, well, put that circuitry, like it can't cost that much anymore. It's been out for like 30 years. Like put that circuitry inside the stove and then we never have to worry about it ever again.
Yeah.
It would be the most popular feature on any stove. Like, I just don't understand why they haven't done it.
I would go buy a new stove right now because for some reason, we lose power like 5 times a year at our house, and we always have to reset the clock. So
Yeah.
it's a very annoying aspect of home ownership.
It's not like you're going to get a backup generator for your stove, right? There's not going to be a battery backup for your stove, of all things.
Oh, genius. Maybe that's what I need.
Yeah, those little cell batteries, just throw one in there. Hey, you can fit a D cell in there. We'll be good.
Yeah.
They could put a decent sized battery in there as well. That would just always keep the time or whatever, at this point, but they're not going to. They like the stove technology hasn't changed since like 1975 when they designed that circuit board that was basically like bake. And then you set the temperature, and it's got the 8-segment clock on there, and that's it. That's all you get. They may have changed out the parts and pieces here and there, but the smarts and everything behind it, they're not changing that.
We need a disruptor.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only smart appliance we need. You can say it's AI that does it. That would bring it immediately to market, right? Just say, we put AI inside of here and it's going to set your clock and it's always going to be right. AI is so smart, and people will be like, oh my gosh,
$5 billion valuation immediately.
Yeah, that's a 10x right there for sure. All right. Well, bunch of stuff came out this week. A lot of stuff came out this week.
Some good, some bad. I mean,
there's a lot of bad. We're going to cover it though. But we've got a number of new products. We've got another number of old mentions, I guess, to say, hey, we've got some updates on this stuff. But the big one this week was, of course, Alexa Plus, I guess, has been launched. So we're definitely going to talk about that. But first, we've got a bunch of HomeTech headlines. So what do you say we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. First up on the list here, Apollo Automation has officially joined the Works with Home Assistant program and certifying 3 of their newest ESP home-based devices. And this is the first kind of first kind of certification for the ESP home devices as well. So that's pretty cool. The certified devices include the MTR1 multi-target radar multi-sensor, the MSR2, which is the millimeter wave multi-sensor, and the AR1 air quality sensor. So congratulations to those guys over there at Apollo Automation for getting their Works with Home Assistant certification. They can put that in a little box when they ship it out. It'd be nice.
Yeah, honestly, this is pretty cool. I think we talked a little bit about this, or maybe we got the inside baseball about this originally. This is pretty cool to see from Apollo. They make really quality devices, and being the first ESP home devices to receive this certification, that's pretty awesome. And it couldn't go to a better group of people. So I'm excited to see what they continue to make, and hopefully this certification expands to more products that they have, because they only have 3 products right now that meet this, and they have way more than 3 products. So I'd be curious to know the how somebody gets this, because I mean, if nobody else has done it so far, that's impressive.
I'm so proud of the Apollo team for this. Like we've been watching this company grow since the day TJ introduced them to me, right? And they, but they've gone and they've been doing so much and growing so fast and coming out with quality products and getting that badge, Works with Home Assistant. It's not just a badge. It just means that you're responsible for making sure your product works with every version of Home Assistant. You update the drivers. You give a certain level of support. There's so much that goes around it. So you just know when you buy an Apollo device, you can jump on their Discord, and they're great at support, answering questions. They know things inside out. It's great to see this. I'm happy for them. And, I have ideas for other things for them. Today I saw a sensor that goes around your water pipe that can measure water flow. I'm like, I wonder if they could take that and build it into their product. And now we have a water flow sensor that you just clamp on, from Apollo, and it works with Home Assistant. I'm going to shoot them. I should start getting paid for my ideas. There's no soil sensor yet though. So I'm kind of like, I'm a little worried, but they have been looking into it, like looking at waterproof cases, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm waiting for my demo unit or my beta unit so I can start playing with it. Spring's coming up.
Yeah. And this is one of the, typically whenever somebody talked about like ESP devices, my eyes just glaze over, because I'm not trying to do any like programming or configuration or flashing or whatever it is. These are one of the first devices I've bought with ESP Home, where you plug it in and you connect it to Home Assistant. Like that was it. There wasn't a lot of BS with it. And so these are solid devices, and I think they're really onto something with this.
And to be fair, the ESP Home people have come a long way with their product, building that building the features in that were needed to allow us to easily add. It couldn't be any easier. As soon as I plug in my device, it notices it in Home Assistant. I just click add and bam, it's there. Like, that is so easy, like kudos to the ESP Home people for, building that in.
Here's what it takes to be a Works with Home Assistant partner. You've got integration must be configurable through the Home Assistant interface. Devices tested and approved by Nabokasa. Integration quality scale requirement gold or better. I think we talked about that in the past. Like, they have these different integration ranks, levels, gold, silver, bronze, all that stuff. Easy firmware updates from within Home Assistant. So you can press a button within the interface and update it. That's a big one. And then you have to have a support contact and an integration maintainer. They have to be listed. So those, what is that? 5 little, I say little, the 5 things that you have to get done to make your product work. I think ESP Home kind of gives them a leg up on that, because it's like literally made by the Home Assistant people to make a lot of that, a lot of those bullet points go away. But at the same time, it's not an easy thing to do. And getting the testing and approval and all that stuff, if there's anything that happens, you have to go back and fix it and all that good stuff. So, good for them. Kudos to them. It's a big deal for a little small company that we definitely like. All right, yeah. Speaking of another little company we like, YoLink has launched a new hub. Yay! YoLink Local Hub is designed to, I wrote this in here though, elevate your smart home experience with a local automation and integration. Allows the users to create custom automation rules, integrate with local APIs, and Matter-enabled devices without relying on cloud services. It offers a connectivity through 4G LTE, Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and includes a built-in SIM for cellular data with a $6.99 monthly subscription. Easy to set up, plug and play. It's got a rechargeable battery in there. It keeps it online for 4 hours during power outages. And also, like I said, supports Matter compatibility and integration with a lot of their wide range of smart home devices. Kind of cool, and kind of like a real offline solution from YoLink there.
Yeah, since like day one, pretty much people have been asking for a local only hub. Like the current hub was cloud based, and people weren't a fan of that. Even though it works still, like I've had no problems with mine, but they really wanted fully local. And YoLink took their time, but they finally came through with it. If you're not familiar with YoLink, you could check out their website. Just it's
don't
not
check
the
it out too
website,
much,
but yeah, But one thing you will see is they have a whole bunch of products on there that solve a lot of problems. And when they talk about distance and stuff like that, it's serious, because I had their sensors in my swimming pool skimmer, which is at the furthest back part of my property, and it was still communicating with their hub, which is the front corner of my house in the basement, right? And I had no issues with any of their sensors.
They're using LoRa though,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. This is the LoRa one, yeah.
So I'm happy with them. I've had a couple of their sensors die on me, but they were early ones, so I wonder if their quality is a little better. But they work great. I've had no issues when they were working, and I can recommend them.
Yeah, I haven't used them. When I lived in the apartment, I had a mailbox that was like a quarter of a mile away, actually, and I used it only for that, so I could tell when I got mail. And so I just put like a YoLink motion detector in my mailbox, and it worked every time without an issue. I don't know what the actual price is on this hub. I think originally I saw it was $200, which I don't think is that bad. But some of the comments I'm seeing said that people were seeing it for $330, and so for $330, that is not a good price. But I think it's the $200 price. But right now it's out of stock, so I can't really tell, unfortunately.
I was looking at like LoRaWAN hubs and stuff, LoRa hubs, and they're not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of comparing it to that too. I mean, they were more industrial uses, but yeah, they were all expensive.
Well, and for this having cellular and everything else built into it, $200 really isn't bad.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing I like about it. I like the battery backup, and I like the cellular option for it. So I think it's a good option. And honestly, I've considered using this as a standalone system for certain businesses, right? Because there's certain things that maybe you just need a temperature sensor. Maybe you just need a flood sensor. Maybe you just need this or that. And YoLink literally makes everything. And so they make like door locks and water leak sensors and water valves and everything else. So you could probably have a whole automation system just based off YoLink. And it'll be rock solid for you. It integrates with everything as well. I mean, you can bring it into Home Assistant with relative ease and everything else. So I think it's a good option for a lot of people, especially if you need the far range. And they have a mousetrap too. So, I mean, what else would you need?
Exactly.
Just kind of like hacking their webpage. Their price on here that they have listed that you can't see is $199.90.
That's what I thought. I don't know where people are. I don't know if the price got changed because it went out of stock or something like that. But like the only review on the local hub is for $330. That's ridiculous, or whatever.
Oh, that must have been a Canadian reviewer.
That's what I was thinking, right?
It's the tariffs, yeah.
But yeah, for $200, I don't think it's a bad.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bag. They've got a quantity of 0, so it's definitely out. But yeah, $199.90.
If they had like 5 sensors, $200 would be ridiculous. But they have dozens of sensors at this point. So
well, there we go. YoLink. It's the Yo. I really think they could have named this better.
Nah,
could have been the Yo Hub. Could have been that.
The Yo Hub.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like looking at their popsicle, like protect your popsicle things, and like they're creative. Like
I don't even see this popsicle thing.
Go to the environmental tab under their products, and you'll see it.
That's a serious issue. You don't want your popsicles to melt.
I mean, I
the
agree.
worst is opening up a popsicle and it's melted and refrozen and
just gross.
You know, it's just exactly.
I invest a lot of money into popsicles every summer. So
$6.99. Oh man, yeah, it's an interesting website. That's for sure. But they, like you said, they have a ton of sensors, a ton of different,
everything.
Smart fridge, smart garage. They've got security. They've got what was it? Smoke detectors, CO detector. I think I saw on there too.
I like the water shutoff valve. They have a battery powered water shutoff valve with water detector built in.
Yeah. That's
so and you put it in line with your toilet, the toilet line, and it will turn off your toilet if it detects your toilet leaking. Yeah.
Cool products. Cool little company. And I am curious as to what the API and all that stuff is. I'm just kind of like looking through while we're talking, but I'll figure out one of these days. And I'm interested in what the local API looks like.
If you really want to know, you can also open up the integration with Home Assistant and see it there. But that's the cloud one, I think.
Yeah, it's probably the cloud one.
Yeah,
I don't think they've updated to use the local one yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
They sold out of the hubs pretty quick. I don't know how many they had, but
I could have told you if you looked at the source code of their webpage.
12.
They have 0 now, for sure. All right. Well, let's move on here. We've got a couple of new Wi-Fi products out. First up, we've got Eero. They've expanded into Wi-Fi 7 and introduced the Eero 7 and the Eero Pro 7, both, of course, doing Wi-Fi 7. Ideal for internet plans where you have 2.5 gigabits and up, which is not very many people out there, but it's coming. I don't know. It's more and more every day, I guess. It supports up to, I guess, the Eero Pro 7 caters. The Eero Pro 7 can go up to 5 gigabits per second if you've got a faster internet speed from your ISP. Let's see. We've got all the good Eero stuff in there. It's got integrations with Thread, Zigbee, Matter-enabled devices through Alexa. The Eero Pro 7 is a tri-band router, offers wireless speeds up to 3.9 gigabits. The Eero 7 is a dual-band router. It provides wireless speeds up to 1.8 gigabits per second. So pretty cool stuff. If you're in the Eero ecosystem, this is going to be a pretty good upgrade. And the price wasn't bad either.
No, it seems to be a little more expensive than their existing Eero 6 lineup, but not by much. So I think you're going to pay a premium for Wi-Fi 7 anyway.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to be ridiculous, at least. Honestly, though, for me, it's one of those things that like the only time I use Eero, because I sell Eero, I'm an Eero dealer. The only time I use Eero is if I don't have hardwire Ethernet around the house. Otherwise, it's more cost effective to do Ubiquiti or something.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever Eero is installed, I've only ever pulled it out of one job, and I think that was a client issue more than anything. It's a very rock solid product. It doesn't give you a ton of options, but that's fine. My customers don't need a ton of options most of the time.
Yeah, it's so the Pro 7 1-pack's $299, 2-pack $549, 3-pack $700, and the Eero 7 1-pack's $169, 2-pack $279, and 3-pack is $350. So not terrible there. Not terrible.
No, good price. I think I found my Mother's Day gift. Okay,
give her some Wi-Fi 7.
She needs an upgrade because her current set of Eeros are they no longer support it. So maybe I'll get her this for Mother's Day.
Weren't you saying that she kept calling and changing her internet plan to like the 5 kilobits per second or something like that? Like, why does she need Wi-Fi 7?
Yeah, she doesn't need Eero.
You know what? Because her TVs and stuff go through it. But I had to slap her hand because every time we got everything set up, she would call Rogers and complain about the price. And the first thing they recommend was, oh, well, we could downgrade your internet. So now her internet is at like 10 megabits per second and being used up all by her Ring cameras. So I had to call back and bump it back up again. And then she complains about the price, but I had to explain to her, I go, listen, you're going to have to pay this price, like
either stop using the technology or
yeah. It's either pay this price or I'm turning off all these Ring cameras, because we go over to her house and we got to like power off a Ring camera with the light switch just to stream her Netflix.
I don't think this router would be a big benefit for her, but maybe pick up the previous generation and you'd be good to go.
if you're nice, Gavin, I'll ship it in the same pot.
There you go.
Listen, I'll put this in just because so I don't have to go visit her again for a very long time to do an upgrade again.
You just have to make phone calls and that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you don't like Eero, Unify's got some new products out there, especially if you're looking at a 10 gigabit network. If you really want to upgrade your mom's internet out there, they have a bunch of new cloud gateways. Let's see, they've got the Dream Router 7. It's the UDR7. It's the successor to the popular Dream Router, that little can thing that I guess it was bigger than it was about the size of one of those big Folgers coffee cans.
Little trash can.
Yeah, a little trash can. Exactly. It's got, 2.5 gigabit Ethernet switch with a PoE port and SFP port for WAN and LAN. It's got SD card storage for Unify Protect and other applications, and a Wi-Fi 7 performance, built-in Wi-Fi and all that good stuff for 10 gigabit support. That's not a bad like all-in-one unit if you need one. Next up, they've got the Cloud Gateway Fiber. It's the UCG Fiber, and this one's got it's a PoE Plus capable 2.5 gigabit Ethernet switch. For adding access points, cameras, and other unified devices. It's got 2 SFP Plus ports and a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, all in a little compact device. If you needed to use, I think it's got M2 NVMe storage. If you wanted to add, storage onto it for Unify Protect and all that good stuff. All of these are all nice little additions to the. They've got an Express 7 too, and another little small guy.
Yeah, a tiny little hockey puck one.
Yeah. It doesn't. I don't think that one. The only thing that it doesn't have is the storage option, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if they've got a product for any budget that you want on here, and I don't know. It's all got the new Wi-Fi 7 built into it as well. So
yeah, this is nice to see. Honestly, I've been liking Ubiquity's play into the more economical options, right? Because we have $500 plus devices, and they work great. I use the UDM Pro SE at my house. I think that's what you have as well, Gavin, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
They work fine, but sometimes they're a little overkill. Like for my office, for example, I have one of the little Expresses because I literally just need a router and an access point. Mm-hmm. The one thing I don't like about Ubiquity's, and I don't know if this has changed with the newer ones, but the stuff with the built-in Wi-Fi cannot be disabled. And the only reason that's a problem is because if you, like for example, I have a client with the Dream router, and we wanted to upgrade the access point, and so that way she can get they can get the faster Wi-Fi. But technically, you can't disable the Wi-Fi that's built in. And the workaround is basically to create a Wi-Fi SSID that nobody uses, and it just puts off. So that's my only downside with them. But for the price, they're really not bad. I'm pretty sure
the Dream Router 7 is $279, the Express 7 is $199, and the little Unify Express is $149. Wait, I don't think
those are pretty good prices though.
Yeah, and that's so cheap. I mean, because for the longest time, Ubiquity did not have any of those really cheap devices, right? It was basically like you have to drop $400 on a router to get anything. And so if you have a smaller setup or a smaller place or whatever it is, like these are perfect.
They don't have all these on one page. Okay, here we are. And the Cloud Gateway Fiber thing is $279 on there.
Yeah, and that's not bad for everything that it has.
That's a different that's a different beast. I don't think that one doesn't have Wi-Fi, right? Yeah, that doesn't have
No,
Wi-Fi.
that one does not have Wi-Fi, and that one I don't think that one does have the storage, but it's only it only supports up to 2 terabytes. So if you're going to do a large camera system with that, you'll probably end up buying the NVR with it as well. But by the time you buy the Cloud Gateway Fiber and then you buy the NVR, you're basically up to $600 or so anyway, which is not that far off like a UDM Pro SE.
Yeah, but so it's not like this is good for like Soho applications.
Mm-hmm.
It's got 4 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, 1 PoE plus. So like you take that PoE plus, you go out to either another access point, or you can bring it to a camera. You can have one camera installed. I don't know. It seems like a pretty good device to me.
No, and I think the 4 2.5 ports is really the selling point of that, right? Because the UDM Pro and the SE do not have that. They have 1 gig ports and that's it. So
yep. Well, it's nice. I think these little devices are going to probably last. They're going to be in inventory for a while. They don't need to update these for quite some time because we're not getting internet this fast anytime soon. I don't know. Not me.
My clients seem to think they will, but yeah.
Got to have the ISPs offering it.
I need gigabit on everything.
Yeah, but gigabit's not enough. You need 5 gigabit to even like take advantage of these. So it's like
it's better be prepared instead of have to buy more equipment later on.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's coming,
One day. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. They'll probably start making our speeds lower here in the States soon. So
yeah, I was gonna say.
It'll just cost more.
What is the FCC?
Yeah. All right, let's move on here. We've got a new smart lock out. They're going to move into some lock talk. We've got Eufy introducing the Family Lock S3 Max. It's a $400 smart video lock featuring palm vein recognition for unlocking doors. This is an enhanced biometric method. It's considered more accurate and secure than fingerprint readers. And you just wave your palm over the front of this thing and it detects the blood flowing through your veins and unlocks the door if it's you. The lock also has a video doorbell, a 2K camera featuring a 150-degree vertical and a 180-degree diagonal field of view. Supports Wi-Fi 6 and Matter, and it can store up to 50 palm vein prints. I'm adding them. I just can't get over them like vein technology.
That sounds made up.
Yeah. It can store up to 50 palm prints locally and offers multiple unlocking options, including key code, app, and of course the physical key. It has a 15,000 milliamp hour removable battery with an additional power from AAA batteries, promising a 6 to 12 month battery life. So this thing it's big. It's probably not for me, but it might be for you. And if you're in the market for a $400 S3 Max, there you go. Eufy's offering the palm vein reader.
That's a good idea. It's actually more secure than fingerprint because in the past I could just cut off the finger and use that person's
You gotta get the whole hand.
Cut off the whole hand.
No. But because it's looking at the movement of blood through the veins, I can't even cut off the arm because person's got to be alive. So it's a little more secure like that, right?
You just gotta get some compressed air and squirt it in there.
You just gotta hook up a pump. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, come on, Gavin. You need to think outside the box.
Well,
think outside the palm.
I'll wait till they come up with a solution on the dark web. But no, it's a pretty cool idea. Other ways of, authenticating. I don't know why we're moving away. Like, is face authentication just not secure enough? Like, why don't they just come out with something like...
That's old news.
What you unlock your phone with, and, it's that easy. Just look at it, unlock, done.
Yeah, the only thing I like about this, for some reason, I do like the idea of having a video doorbell and smart lock all in one. But this thing is very ugly, and it's Eufy, so it's going to be even uglier than what the pictures show, because they do not make attractive devices. I like the screen concept though, but I have a peephole in my door, so I would just look out the peephole.
Yeah.
They also, I see, offer a less expensive version for $349 if you don't want the screen thing. So, are you going to get one?
I am not. I have real stuff.
I'm not a fan of battery powered things like that, for my doorbell.
Yeah, I got a PoE doorbell, Seth. I don't need this.
Yeah.
Gavin will have a PoE doorbell here within 6 months.
I'm going to have all the PoEs.
PoE for you. You get a PoE. All right. Well, speaking of outdoor and securities and stuff, all that, Ring has unveiled an outdoor security camera. I'm very unimpressed by this, if you can't tell. Ring, it's called the Ring Outdoor Camera Plus, which supports 2K video right out of the box. Previously only supported 1080p on their outdoor cameras, but now they're upgrading and promising better, improved Wi-Fi and low light capabilities. Camera's available for pre-order. It's probably shipping now for $100 and will ship on March 26th. So I guess it ships next month sometime. Key features include real-time motion alerts, live streaming, two-way communication, and advanced functionalities like recording and package detection. But those require the Ring Home basic subscription starting $4.99 monthly. 2K video.
Woo!
I'm yawning at that. Like, come on.
Welcome to 2025.
Listen, when I saw this story, I had to check the date on the story. I thought this was 2 years ago, right? Like 2K video.
But it comes in black and white too. Oh, yeah.
And the pictures are very confusing because the stock photo makes it look like the base is like really big, and then the photo they have lower down makes it look like the base is really small. So I'm not really sure what this camera is. Like when I first saw this come across, I thought it was supposed to mount over like a floodlight. And I was like, well, this isn't really a floodlight camera, but the base looks so big for it.
That may be like a base, like in a base adapter. They have those. They've had those in the past for some of their outdoor cameras where it was like an adapter kit that you would buy. It would be like separate, and that would be like the hardwired version where it would wire in.
Yeah, they have those for the floodlight camera.
Yeah, where like that's like one of those 2-inch round box things. So that's probably what it is right there. I don't know. Unimpressed. $100 plus a subscription.
That's
not terrible.
Yeah.
If you're already in the Ring ecosystem, I guess it's,
Yeah, I mean, for $100 too, you're not really going to compete too much with that. Right. So
yeah.
Unless you're wise.
All right. Well, let's move on here. The product announcement, I'm going to warn you guys, the product announcements get worse from here. So I don't know.
It's all downhill from here.
It may get better at the end, but Eve announced a new Matter over Thread dimmer switch set to ship mid-March, $50. It's a hardwire switch compatible with single pole and three-way configurations. Has Matter, works with everything. There you go. It's Eve. Eve made a Matter switch.
It'll be rock solid.
It doesn't look terrible. I don't know. Picture's very small.
They make good products, so this will probably be a good Matter switch if you're looking for a Matter switch. You shouldn't be looking for a Matter switch, but if you are...
It's Matter over Thread, too, so it'll work better than Matter over Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, lately with the switches, though, I've been thinking about it. I have the Innovelli switches. When people come over, they seem to just get confused. I don't know why, because to me, they look like regular toggle switches with maybe a light or something at the side. Like, you should be able to know to press up or press down, right? Is this going to throw, people off, too? I guess people are just old school with their switches.
Yeah, we were having this discussion in the Slack this week. I think it was Greg was mentioning that somebody gets confused every time they come over and use the light switches. And we have the same issue. Nicole's family comes over a couple times a year, and they've stayed at my house 6 times now, and they're always like, "How do the lights work in here?" And I'm like, it's just it's a light switch. What do you mean? How does it work? You just hit the top to turn it on. You hit the bottom to turn it off. That's how all light switches work. But they're confused by it for some reason.
Well, if you want to confuse them even more, Leviton has come out. They're pushing this Decor Evolve family of products here. And this is weird. It's kind of like if you picture a Decor switch. Okay, so that's the paddle type switch, the big one, the big flat one. That's pretty standard now for most homes. And you cut it not in half, but maybe 3/4. And then you get these little modules and plug and play kind of like what you want it to do. And there's a big switch on top. This is the weirdest set of products that they have. And we'll just put a link to this picture. But if I walked into the house, I'm technology literate, right? I walk into the house and I see this thing on the wall. I don't know what I'm going to do. There's a big button on top. There's 2 little buttons and then a little button on the corner. And I'm like, why? This isn't an evolution. I'm sorry, Leviton.
It kind of looks like a scene controller that somebody messed up on because there's so many buttons, but they're so small.
You can swap out. They've got different modules here. They've got the smart switch module. They've got a dimmer module. They've got a motion sensor module. They've got a 25-watt USB Type A and C module. It just gives you the ability to
What's the button on the top for then?
I think it just turns on and off the lights.
So then what's the module for?
If you want to dim the lights, yeah.
To actually dim it.
Or use a motion detector to kick things on and off. Or you can have a receptacle. Mm-hmm. Or you can have a blank nothing there. There's a blank module there and you just have the one button at the top.
Sweet.
There's a nightlight module too. I don't get this. This is so weird.
What drives me nuts about this is, and I'm surprised Richard hasn't pointed this out yet, but their photos don't do it any sort of justice. Like, their photos aren't lined up properly, and it makes it look all weird, and the spacing around the edges and stuff. Like, it drives me nuts. I wonder if Richard's just still recovering from looking at it the first time.
Yeah, this is there's a subreddit called ATBGE. It's called Awful Taste but Great Execution. And this does not fit that. That's all I want to say. This is awful taste and awful execution.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bottom module is what you can swap in and out of whatever. And I guess on the top, it can be either a switch or it can be an outlet. So this thing is like, and it's not even. That's the problem, I guess. It's like not half and half.
Yeah.
It's more like 2/3 and 1/3, I guess, for this.
And it doesn't look good.
The only advantage I could see with this, because right now it's only available to builders, new construction homes. And so the only reason I could think that this would be a thing is because the electrician can come in, they could put this module in, and the light turns on and off. They can walk away and say, yep, nope, your lights work, leave me alone. And then the homeowner can come in afterwards and put these little modules in to actually do whatever they want to do. Like, that's the only thing I see, but it is very ugly.
Well, it's an option. There it is.
Don't do it. If you go into a new build and your home builder is using this, you should probably just walk away.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea, but I don't know. It doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. I wish why didn't they make the whole thing the module? Like we were talking about this company, what is it, Deco, that has like, maybe it's just because Deco has the patent on it. But Deco is like, they built a back box and then you can like put whatever you want in that back box, right? And it's like, that's smart. Like, get the electricians to put the back boxes in, and then you can put dumb switches in, or you can like smart switch whatever you want just by putting a smart switch module in. But in this case, there's a switch on top, and then the module can be a night light. or you can give it dimming abilities or smart switching abilities. I don't know. It's not pretty. Not a pretty option here. Anyway, we spent way more time on that than we thought we were going to.
Yeah, we should not have spent this much time on this.
All right. And speaking of just the general enshittification of things, Tado. I still don't. It's a European company. Is it Tado? Tado?
I say Tado.
It could be Tado. I don't know.
Tado. That's what I say because it's more fun.
It's they make smart thermostats, and they're pretty popular, I guess, over in European markets. They're considering charging customers about €1 or £1 monthly to control their devices by their app. So they're going to actually kick in a subscription fee for their app. It's set to begin on May 1st, 2025. Users in the Netherlands received notifications of a February 19th, 2025 start date. And right now the app is free, but now that you got all your stuff hooked up, they're just like, we're going to charge a little bit more. We're going to charge for you to use this app. If you want to use the app to control the thing, it was free now, not going to be free later. Lord.
And shittification.
This is wrong. You can't take away like a feature like that and put it behind a paywall. Like, that is just, I know they already have subscription to allow more advanced features, and that's fine. But the most basic feature, you can't just take it away and charge for it.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
A moderator inside their to-do forums, I guess, said that the fee notification was part of a marketing test. Whoops. And assured users that the free app access will remain intact. And then a spokesperson came out and then echoed the same thing, emphasizing routine marketing tests and customer feedback analysis. So it looks like they got their hand caught there in the cookie jar, and people weren't very happy. And they're like, no, blame marketing. Marketing sent out an email they shouldn't have.
Sure.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to start There's reasons to do that, but and they already have like they have like a €4 or €6 optional things that you can get.
For more advanced options, right? And marketing wouldn't be typing up an email like this if they weren't thinking about it. Like, they're just not going to kill some time and, hey, let's type up a random email like this and see how
there's like 70 meetings about
happens.
this. Sales is
exactly.
This is
oops, send.
Whoopsies. Anyway, to-do. One day we'll figure out how to pronounce that one.
Tado.
Tado. All right, fine. Anyway, big story of the week here. Amazon has unveiled Alexa Plus. And I hope that didn't set off anybody's Alexa thing. I really don't care if it does because they named the product that.
Okay. Just be warned. Like, turn off your speakers right now. Turn off your speakers right now. We're warning you in advance.
Do not care. This is your stupid robot, not mine. All right, Alexa, mine is sitting right here. It's doing nothing. Jarvis, what are you doing? Nothing. He's not doing anything. There you go.
He ain't even answering to Jarvis.
No, because it's what you have to say hey in front of it because they're smart. They didn't name the product anything that I would name inside my house. I'd say, hey, Jarvis. There he is. He's there.
Hey, Jarvis. Oh, mine's there still, too.
Boom.
Hey, Jarvis. Oh, I don't have anything.
Can't hear you. Say it louder. All right. Alexa Plus is the next generation AI assistant powered by a generative AI designed to enhance and let's elevate the user interaction with technology. Alexa Plus offers more conversational, and personalized experience, allowing users to manage their homes, make reservations, and discover new content seamlessly. All right. So this is the new Alexa that we've been promised. They named it Alexa Plus. It is powered by a bunch of large language model stuff that they did. They've got a bunch of little use cases that they demoed on the stage this Wednesday, and it looks cool. I'll give it like some of the features. Like, oh yeah, those are good. Just don't care. Like I can't care about this. I'm sorry. It's just I'm not in this ecosystem. So, Gavin, I know you are. What do you think about Alexa Plus?
It is what I was really hoping they would do. So to be fair, I don't care about most of the stuff they announced. I just care about the LLM and the voice interaction piece of it right now.
Okay.
So they I remember when we were talking about it before, and I said, what I really hope they do is put an LLM behind it so that I can have more natural conversations with my Alexa and not have to worry about keywords or stuff. I could just say, turn on this light, that light, whatever. Like it would automatically know this stuff, right? And that's what they've done. It looks like they've really got that. I can't say right because I haven't played
I gotta
with
test
it
it. Yeah.
But I gotta test it and stuff. But it seems like they're going in that right direction, and I'm excited. I can't wait for that to come out. Now they also announced all their other features like ordering Ubers and ordering pizzas and doing your shopping and all that stuff. I've never been a fan of those because I like to shop around like for deals and stuff, and I'm always afraid if I say order a pizza, it's gonna get 10 toppings and like it's gonna be the most expensive pizza out there. So and I don't have any of the Echo, the dashboard, what do they call them? Shows. I don't have any of those. So I know people that do are a little excited because the interface, but the whole Alexa Plus, they're trying to drag you into their ecosystem. So, you're going to have to feed it all your documents that you eventually want to ask it about. And they're doing that by, I think, through email. So if you email a certain email address, your document, the Alexa Plus will now know about it. And that's kind of cool. But you're going to be giving your whole life to this thing if you want to work with it. And I guess it has to. But, Jeff Bezos there is just going to know everything about you. And at some point, they'll just use that in your advertising saying, like, hey, your mortgage is coming up for renewal, go to Amazon Mortgage.
Hey, did you know I've been trying to reach out to you about your car's extended warranty?
Yeah, exactly. It's about time to change your brakes. We'll order some new brakes for you, like I think it's really cool how well it works is another thing. And for those that complain that their Alexa was too chatty now, it's about to get a lot chattier. I'm warning you from now because they're having full on conversations with this thing. And I'm excited for it though. The best part about it, for me, it's free. It's a free upgrade because I have Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, it's going to be a $20 a month charge. So just get the Prime, so much worth it. You get so much more with that. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
So it's rolling out in the U.S. over the next couple months. Not available in Canada yet, but
oh damn,
maybe soon after.
Oh
that.
no, well I changed all mine to U.S. addresses, so I get all the U.S. features on mine. So I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. Also, this new assistant introduces what they're calling experts, which is a concept that integrates systems, APIs, and instructions to support specific tasks. Yeah, I think this is what we were hoping this stuff was like. What 10 years ago? When it's like this is what they were kind of like, hey, this can do this. And I think they're finally getting there. We'll have to see how it does actually work, I'm not that excited. I'm not voice control doesn't really exist in my house anymore outside of dumb Siri, poor dumb Siri. Like this makes Siri look awkwardly just horrible.
Yeah, bad. Yeah.
Oh, she said hi over there. Hi, Siri.
Yeah. Hey, Siri. But yeah.
She said, what?
Yeah, but other things, as we get closer and we see more features come out, you're going to be like, hey, you could do this now. Like one of the things I saw mentioned was they were able to set like routines and stuff like automations.
Yeah.
Through your voice.
That's what the experts
and that's
thing
similar
can
to
do.
what Josh. Yeah, and that was really cool. Or what I really found, and again, this is Amazon going to be knowing everything about you, but the integration with your Ring cameras, it's going to be analyzing your video 24/7, and you can go back and ask things like, did anybody walk the dog yesterday, or did I take out the garbage? And it will know based on everything it knows about your video to how to answer those questions, which is cool that you can do that, but it's also scary that they know everything about you. Like people are going to be using that for good and for bad.
Well, I guess one thing it is nice is that, do you remember like early on, a couple of years back, like Ring got in trouble for like hiring a bunch of people to watch videos, like watch your doorbell and like, oh, that's a package. And they would highlight the package. That was like their machine learning training thing. Now, I mean, all that stuff is kind of trained and everything. So it can pretty much do that with those models that they worked on now. So like if Ring does see you a package, you'll get that. But there's not, the good thing is like, there's not going to be seeing anybody sitting there on the camera, watching the camera and saying, oh yeah, that's a package. It's a robot that figures all this out. So that is nice. There's going to be less human intervention and all this stuff here.
Oh, yeah, we knew that was coming, but like I said, I'm excited for the upgrades to the voice interaction. All the rest of the stuff I'm not too excited about, but it's good to see. I don't know where it will go. We will see.
We've been talking about all this for AI for a year or more now, and especially when it came to getting a new Alexa Plus, right? Like, so they were kind of the first that said, we're going to do this, and they said, oh, it's not ready. We're going to try and do it later. And I think there was like an all hands meeting earlier this month. Didn't look like it was going to happen again, but they released it. It will be interesting to see once this actually starts going live for probably, thousands, if not millions of people, how this is going to work in people's hands. And I will be genuinely curious about like what you're talking about with, I think what they're calling experts or whatever. Experts, it's groups of systems, capabilities, API. So you kind of like can build all that stuff together and create those automations for you. Make reservations on OpenTable. You take all, like, that's one thing I've noticed that on the large language model side of things that I do, that I mess with, like it does it. There are things that it does really well, and one of those things is like reading instructions, parsing through kind of what it needs to know in there and kind of spitting out like some code or something like that. Like I'll give you an example today. Like I was working on a form thing for my neighborhood and I wanted to like do this little like on form, it's the submit through Google Apps. You can add like a little function on side of it to like parse the data and do some other stuff with it. And I was like, you know what? I know how to do this. I typed it all up and I was looking at it. I'm like, all right, well, let me just paste it over into ChatGPT and say, hey, can you double check this? And of course, my knowledge is like old. And it's like, oh, these APIs are deprecated. You need to use this, this, and this. And you just swap the stuff out. And so like those little applications that you get out of this stuff, that's what I think people are going to find more beneficial than anything. Like the large language model stuff is pretty much, it's good, right? We don't have to worry about that anymore. They're training them. They're trying to say they're better, but like the cat's out of the bag. We already got really, really good models that can parse language, parse problems, figure out a solution for you, or figure out what you're talking about and spit it back out. Now they're working on stuff like this, which are like the overriding applications. For me, what I've been dealing with, it's built into a code editor. That's not really helpful for most people, but that feature that I have that I find a little bit of benefit that in my code editing or whatever, or double checking my work and that kind of thing. If that gets put over onto somebody who is not an expert in home automation and said, hey, I want to turn on the lights Mondays through Friday at 7:30 in the morning. If these conditions are met or whatever, it can lay all that out. That's going to be huge for a lot of people. It's going to make the smart home much more approachable. And if they, and I think if they do this right, if it doesn't have the capability of figuring all that out, like if it doesn't, like, well, you don't have smart lights. Like, what if it comes back and says, like, hey, you're going to need some more smart lights to make that happen. You're going to need some devices that are capable of doing this. Like, if it has the ability to come back and tell somebody that, oh, okay, I can go on and I can find some smart lights or suggest some smart lights to, like, that would be great. That'd be really awesome. In making the smart home a little more actually smart and not just like these like if-then statements that we've been dealing with for the past, I don't know, 30 years or so. Like it would be much better once we have the ability to have a conversation with this thing, this device or whatever, and it can suss through what we're trying to do and then give us the result that we want. I think it's going to be great for a lot of people. This programming this stuff is not fun.
No, but no, I totally agree. Like it's going to make things so much better if it works. And again, until we get our hands on it, we don't know how well it's going to work, but I don't think it's going to be totally bad.
No, there's definitely benefits here.
I think you're going to see all these Reddit posts about, fringe things that people did that it failed at. But for the most part, I think it's going to be good.
600 million Amazon Alexa devices out there. That's a lot. That's a lot. TJ, you're quiet. Are you one of the 600 million people out there that have Alexa devices?
No, I don't use voice control at this point anymore. We have like little Google Home speakers in places, but it's really the displays now, because those are nice to look at for like the weather and stuff like that. But we don't really use voice control ever since we moved into the new house.
Yeah, we took most all of the voice control. I mean, the most I do is like yell into my phone or my watch for a light to come on, right? I don't know. I'm really hoping one day Siri, oh my gosh, Siri's so dumb at this point, but like one day they'll figure it out.
Yeah, my goal is to have my stuff just do stuff for me when it knows that I want that stuff done, and voice isn't like that. So
yeah, and as our smart home grew, we found there were certain things that you just wanted to ask. You didn't want to pull out a phone. You didn't want to have a dashboard, like the temperature of the pool. It's so easy to just say, hey, Alexa, what's the temperature in the pool? And she told you instead of have to look it up or anything like that, right? Like there's certain things where you can't automate or you don't want to automate, or, you want to open the blinds or close the blinds. It's just easy just to say, hey, open the blinds or close the blinds instead of tap a dashboard or something, but like I said, as your smart home grows, some things become just easier with the voice control. And that's kind of why I'm excited about this, because we use it quite a bit, actually.
Well, especially if you can program it. That's what I'm thinking. Like, especially if you can set up automations with the voice thing. And it's like, and it actually does it correctly, like, or gives you a better, I mean, sometimes like, if you're using these things right, you can bounce ideas off of it, and it comes up with better ideas. I mean, that's really what.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, ChatGPT is really good at doing that, because it has a pretty decent amount of things that it's read through and random words that it can place together, and you can kind of get in there and say, hey, does this sound right, or does this look good, or whatever, and it'll suggest different ideas, like if you ask it to do that, like if that's the instruction set. So I think this could be really beneficial in making the smart home a lot more approachable for a lot of people. Even if you're more advanced users, like you or TJ, like, or me, like if I ever hook one of these speakers back up, it's not likely.
One thing I really hope they did is add security to it. So whether identifying it, because the last thing I need is for somebody to come in the house and set a routine to play Miley Cyrus at 3 a.m.
Ooh.
Right? And then you would never know. And then 3 a.m. in the morning, it starts blasting out your speakers. That would not be funny. Or would it?
It would be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe just play that sound.
Oh yeah, that would drive me nuts, Randomly through the day, I want you to play this beep of the fire alarm, Yeah, that would drive me nuts. But yeah, I hope they have some kind of voice recognition so it knows when I'm talking to it versus someone else, and I can give it commands, but other people can't.
All right, well, cool. Hopefully, we'll see what this looks like as it rolls out. Looks like it's rolling out soon. There's people playing with it already. So
middle of March, I think they said.
All right. Well, all the links to topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/518. All right. Nothing in the mailbag this week, but we do have a pick of the week. And this one came to, I think, TJ and my amazement. Real snow dump. This is crazy.
You've heard of trash dumps. Have you heard of a snow dump? If you haven't, you have now. Even Gavin didn't know about this.
Yeah, this one shocked me, actually. Go ahead, explain it.
Oh, am I explaining it?
I don't even know what snow is, so this is all on you.
Oh, yeah, I should go ahead and explain this. So, you're used to a trash dump, right? Everybody makes trash, and unless you live in the country and you burn it like you shouldn't do, a trash truck comes and picks it up, and they take it to a distant land, probably within 30 minutes of your house, and they throw it into a big pile, and they put dirt on top of it. And then after 20 years or so, they move to a new location. Well, I guess up in Montreal, they get so much snow that they do the same thing with snow. And you look at this picture, it's on Reddit, and at first you think it's fake because it's Reddit. There's a lot of fake stuff on Reddit, and it shows this picture of this like 6 dump trucks just backed up to this giant snow pile. And you're like, all right, that's fake. Because, how would they even get the snow up there? Like, right? They're not driving dump trucks on top of the snow. That's ridiculous. And there's a video attached in the comment. And they use blowers. They use giant snow blowers. And they just blow the snow on top of each mountain. And supposedly they have snow that's like 10 years old up in the pile. So this is just a giant snow dump.
They said it's going to take like 10 years for it to melt. In those 10 years, you're just adding to it and adding. This was news to me. Like, I knew about that dump called Montreal, but I didn't know they had snow. I'm just kidding. Man. I have,
jeez.
For everybody in Montreal that I just offended, Seth's going to send you an Apollo end of year Christmas ornament. Don't worry.
Tariffs will be too much by then.
Yeah, I know, for real. But no.
But, this is good to see. We're slowly melting the ice caps for that global warming thing that doesn't exist, and Montreal is contributing by making their own ice caps, and so that's good.
But based on that math, it will never go. It will always keep growing. Like, if it's taking 10 years to get rid of what you have now, then we're going to be adding to it every year even more. Like,
they didn't say it takes 10 years. They said there's snow there from 10 years. They're not getting rid of the snow, Gavin. They're keeping it.
Yeah, that's a lot of snow.
See, they don't want to melt it either. That's the funny part. It's like snow turns to water, water evaporates. But like, I guess, what do you do with a bunch of water? It's probably not clean water either, right? Let's be honest.
Definitely like dirty water at that point.
They bottle it and call it Dasani.
Dasani.
Because oh man, that's probably true. Because I know you don't know this, Seth, because you don't have snow down there. But when you have a lot of snow on the roads and stuff like that, eventually it turns like black, and it just becomes really gross looking.
Ew.
And like the photos makes it look like it's relatively white and clean snow, but I bet you there's a lot of gross snow mixed into that.
I'm looking at the pictures on Wikipedia for the snow dump. Snow removal, and everything looks so pretty. Like, they're just like, oh, we got a little white snow, and you got this little truck with a thing on the front of it, and it's just moving the snow away. I also saw, like, recently, I don't know if this is like a thing, but there's like in Japan, they had these roads with pipes in the middle of them, and like there's these little sprinklers that like were sprinkling out water, brine water probably, and it was like, where the little yellow things would be in the middle of the road, where the line is, right? Like, there's just had these little sprinkler caps there, just like spraying water on the street. Like, that's normal. Like,
smart. I just came up with a brilliant idea. Why don't they just build the data center in that snow dump?
Oh, that's genius.
It would have, I'm going to sell that one too.
This is why people need to listen to this show. Free information, free ideas here. Free ideas. These are great ideas too.
These ideas are going to cost 25% more here soon, though.
Exactly. Tariffs are going up. If you have any feedback, ideas, questions, or comments, picks of the week, or you'd like to fund one of our ideas, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm. You can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. I have work I'm doing. I got a couple of jobs I'm trying to wrap up on locally. And, bill them eventually, I guess. Gotta pay bills. I got one driver up on a website somewhere for, I think I talked about it before. I forget what it's called. Aquatel. If you got a water tank and you want to know what's in it, specifically is it water or is it sewer? Like it can't tell you that, but it can't tell you how much is in there. And it's a little like echolocation thing. And it I don't know. People use them on farms or for cisterns and that kind of thing. I got a driver for that thing on there, over at Driver Central, up for Control 4 systems. And then I got a new driver coming out. It's kind of an esoteric like thing. It's one I've wanted to do for a long time. And I finally just, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm unemployed. Let's get this done. And I'm making a OSC driver for Control 4. And if you don't know what OSC is, open sound control. And it's just kind of like a thing people use to control stuff in commercial markets and theaters and that kind of thing. If you use Isadora or anything like that, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what Isadora is, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But, I'll have a little driver for OSC and Control 4 stuff up soon. So I don't know. No one will probably ever buy it, and I'm just wasting my time making it, but I wanted to do it for a long time, and I figured, why not? So that and my other projects are watching a lot of TV, because I got a lot of time to watch TV right now. This is really we're talking about like what our projects are before the show. I'm like, I'm talking about some TV shows that I want to watch. Severance is on right now. If you're not watching Severance, you should be. If you're not paying for Apple TV, get it somehow. Like buy an Apple TV, Apple device or whatever, and get the free trial and then return the Apple device. I don't know. You should stream Severance. It's really good. And I think it comes out tonight, so I'm probably going to go inside and watch more of it. Silo. If you haven't watched that one, pick up on that. Like, I think it's 2 seasons out now. It's a really fun show. And I guess a series of books I probably need to read. Evidently, they're not following the books very much at all anymore. So, if you're a fan of the book, the TV show is different in its own fun way. And then I picked up an old show called The Night Of back in 2016. I guess this came out. And we watched one episode of it so far. And it's really good. It's like a murder type mystery thing, lawyer show, I guess. I don't know. But check out, this guy goes out and like meets a girl, wakes up and they have a good time. He wakes up in her apartment and there's a crime scene, and he literally does every single thing wrong. Both before and after this, to basically make everyone suspect him of being the murderer, which he, I don't know. Is he? I don't know. We'll have to watch this, but it's called The Night Of. It's from 2016. It seems pretty good. I should check that out too. So that's all I got for project. What are you guys up to?
Just following up from some things from last week. So I know I was having some Sonos problems last week, or not problems, but playing around with the various setups and things. Right. And one thing I did do, Seth, was I did what you recommended, plugged in one speaker,
one device,
which was my Beam, one device, and left all the others wireless. And while that seemed to help, I also changed some channels around and everything. It seemed to help with interference. The one thing I really missed out on when I had things hardwired was the reaction time. Like when you AirPlay to it, it was like instant. It was very reliable. It was fast. Everything was in sync. Those type of things.
And that was when you had them all hardwired?
No, when I had some hardwired, right? But I was getting other issues. So I went the other extreme now. I hardwired everything. The only ones I don't have hardwired are the surrounds in my home theater. So from my understanding, once I hardwire everything, it gets rid of Sonos Net. I don't know how to tell if there's nothing being broadcast, but I'm told it gets rid of the whole Sonos Net. Except in the home theater. It still has a wireless network, but it's a 5 gigahertz one, a special 5 gigahertz home theater, and that's just meant to connect to the sub and the rear left and rights.
Yeah.
Right? But the rest of the network's all hardwired, and like I said, the performance is better. It's much more reliable. I can play to 7 speakers at the same time. They don't drop out. When I play to them, it starts like right away, whereas before there was a little bit of a lag, a delay. If it's much more reliable. So my final recommendation is just hardwire all your Sonos if you can. If you don't hardwire them all, then you can either go all wireless or just plug in one and use the Sonos Net.
Yeah, I'll put the I found links on Sonos's website that say exactly that. Like it's like all in or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Do this all this way. If you can't hardwire one of them, then all Wi-Fi is what it says. And then if it can't do this, then like all this way. So My experience has been one thing plugged in, everything kind of Sonos nets off that. Apple, I think you use the AirPlay a lot more than I don't use that at all.
Because we just play what we're listening to. We, like in our household, we just play whatever we're listening to on our phone. And that way, when we jump in the car, we continue where we left off. When we get out the car, we continue where we left off. And then we just send it to whatever rooms we're in. Like when I'm home alone, I send it to like all the rooms and I just have the whole house in sync. And it's nice. It's a nice sound.
Yeah, I've never. Well, I don't have any AirPlay 2 Sonos devices. Mine are all kind of the previous generation, which don't have that. So I've never actually used Sonos that way. But I can tell you, I think it's finally working. I don't know. The system works fine right now with one thing plugged in, and then everything is on Sonos Net. But I'm using it just, I play Sonos. I go to the Sonos app, I hit play on whatever, Spotify or something, I don't know, and it comes out the speakers, and I can group them together, and they seem to be pretty snappy and everything. I'm not having the problems I was having when one of them was on Wi-Fi or this, that, and the other. Like it's much better now. So I'm happy. But I'm not going to change, and I'm not going to get anything new, because evidently if I get something new...
If you got it working, don't change it. Yeah.
It's just going to not do that. I'm just going to keep my old janky Sonos system until I can't keep it anymore.
Yeah. I just wanted to do a lot of this playing around to learn, and I actually feel like I'm in a better place now because of it, because now that I have them all hardwired, like I said, the response time, the reliability is so much better and less interference. One less wireless network being broadcast out there to interfere with things, which I'm happy with.
It also points to maybe the Wi-Fi network isn't as dense as it needs to be, or isn't capable of handling that much streaming. So I don't know. Like if a lot of it's going over the hardwire, you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Traffic going over. Yeah.
So, all right. So, and I know I complained. Last week was a rough week. I complained about Rat GDO. I finally...
We all have those weeks. That's
it was
right.
a rough week. I was having all sorts.
Yeah.
I'm better now. I've done some meditation and stuff. But one thing that's making me happier is I finally switched all my Rat GDOs over to ESP home-based setups. And there's been so much more reliable. I know you have two options when you switch these over. For those that have it, you have the MQTT option and you have a ESP Homes option. Just do the ESP Home one, because the MQTT one is not reliable and they drop off every now and then. So I'm a much happier person now. That's running so much better. And the other thing I got set up was I know TJ touched on this last week, but my elevated bed occupancy sensor. So I got those installed, and yes, TJ, you're right. The connections are a little flimsy. So I'm creating longer wires that I can then run out from under the bed and, make it a little more sturdy and stuff like that. But they work well. They work really well. Like, I would look at the Home Assistant logs the next day to see if they accidentally tripped or nothing, anything like that. No, they don't accidentally trip. Like, they know when you're in the bed and they know when you're out of the bed. And I'm actually surprised at how well they work. And right now, the automation I have set up is when someone gets out of the bed, like in the middle of the night, and there's certain parameters around it, but it will turn on the bed lights, the underneath bed lights, so they can see their way around the room for a period amount of time, right? And the wife seems to like that, so no longer fumbling for a button or, trying to touch a lamp or something like that. So they work really well. I can highly recommend them. They're also ESP home based devices, so they work really well with Home Assistant. I don't know what more to say. They do what they advertise.
What do you have your sensor doing so far?
So right now, like I said, when at night, if the house is in like either evening or night mode, so basically it would be dark in the house right at that point, and you get out of bed and the room light isn't already on, then it will turn on the bed light so you can see where you're walking around for a period of time. I think I set it to 60 seconds, and that way you can go to the bathroom, come back, and then by the time you get back in bed, it will turn off again, that type of thing, right? And like I said, before we would get up, reach for a button, turn on the light, get out of bed, go, and worry about turning it back off again. Now it's all automated, so you don't have to fumble with that button, right? So, she really likes it because, again, it's not accidentally tripped. Like, if I roll over in the bed, it doesn't think somebody got out of bed, right? It's been really good. I haven't had any issues with it, and I have a thick mattress, right? Which I thought would have been a problem. It's not a problem. And it's all sitting on like a flat board, which I thought would also be a problem. It's not a problem. So it works really well.
Yeah, it's a good thing I got that update pushed out for the heavy mattresses.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think when I went in there, I was like, "Thank you, TJ." You know, I saw the option, and I was like, "Oh, if TJ," I got an update when I plugged it in. It was like, "Oh, you have an update," and I was like, "That was the heavy mattress update." Yes,
I walked so you could run.
there you go. We appreciate it. So yeah, if you're looking for a bed occupancy sensor, I can recommend these. But if you're in Canada, just be prepared to pay import fees and tariffs.
Pay double.
Yeah, it's going to cost you double. Like, it sucks to be up here sometimes. Actually, no, it doesn't. And that pretty much wraps up my week. You know, I'm in a better place. I know last week I was complaining about a lot of stuff and I was ready to throw my home out, but you know, it's running a lot better now.
Throw the whole home out.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah. I was just like, I was going to hand it over to the wife and it's your problem now. I'm leaving. You know, here's the
going for cigarettes and milk. Yeah, I'll be back.
Here's the password. I'm going for cigarettes and milk and I'll be back. Yeah.
Nice guy gave her the password. Wow.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for my projects this week, over the weekend, I quit Sonos.
Wow.
I was, oh my gosh, I just, you know, I've had so many problems with Sonos that like I got so mad with it, and I was just like, I'm listing everything for sale, and so I literally posted everything on Facebook Marketplace, and then I do what any millennial does in 2025, is I took to social media and I complained about my Sonos problems. I didn't go to the Sonos subreddit because nobody there likes me when I complain there. I went to Blue Sky and I posted on there, but of course Sonos doesn't have a Blue Sky account yet. It's too new of a social media platform. So I tagged Tom Conrad, who is the interim CEO of Sonos. And to my surprise, Tom Conrad commented back and was like, "Hey, I want to look into this for you, but I understand if you don't want to look into it because it sounds like we've kind of screwed you over." And I was like, "Let's talk about it." And so I reached out to him, and he even gave me his phone number, which I thought was really nice. I haven't called it; it could be a fake number for all I know. But we talked through Blue Sky, the chat platform there. And basically he told me a bunch of stuff about my system. So I know he was real. Seth kept saying he was an AI bot.
I think he's an AI bot, yeah.
But an AI bot, maybe, I guess he would know about my stuff, but he told me all the equipment I had. The funniest thing though is that I guess Sonos can see everything about whatever their devices are doing, and so they can see the Wi-Fi network that my devices are connected to. And hilariously, he told me that I can see that your Wi-Fi name is called Shitty Wi-Fi, and just something about that made me laugh because I was like, "How often does somebody tell you that your Wi-Fi is shitty?" But basically, he gave me a breakdown on what was happening with my system. And then he gave me basically 4 things that I need to try in order to fix it. And I've implemented those things. Things seem to be working all right, but it's one of those things you don't really know until like you're just using it all the time. Because my issue with Sonos is that the speakers just cut out. Like if you've ever used a Discman, which I haven't, or CDs, that skipping that happens with CDs, that's what my Sonos sounds like. And I've never been able to fix that. And I've tried many different ways. And I've never been able to fix it. But ultimately, I think really what the issue comes down to is that I have a Ubiquiti U7 Pro Max access point that does not play well with IoT devices. And when you call Sonos tech support, they always try to walk you through the most silly things to fix the issue. And nobody ever just told me that my Wi-Fi was the issue. They're just like, change the Sonos net channel, change this, do this. And like none of that stuff worked. And so like I just get frustrated because it's like, I just want the stuff to work, right? I've spent even dealer costs. I've spent $3,000 to $5,000 on all my Sonos speakers. And like literally after the update last year is when stuff started happening and it just stopped working. And like, I know it happened around then because before then, I recommended Sonos for everything, right? It was one of those products that just worked all the time. And so I've implemented these changes. And what I liked about Tom is that he never accused me of doing anything wrong. He was like, "Hey, we messed up. This is our problem. this isn't your problem. And I'm like, damn right, it's not my problem. You're right, Tom. And
you know what? You shared the transcript with me, and I read through it. I'm like, you know what? This robot that you were talking to really went out of its way to basically tell you that your Wi-Fi is in fact actually shitty, because they said it in such a nice way. It's like, well, the problem really isn't you. It's not me. It's you. It's your Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is the problem. And, like that's what he's telling you in this conversation. But he said it in such a nice way. The robot like smoothed everything over. So you know what? It may actually be a CEO. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's scalable support, if you ask me. But it's probably a robot or level 2 tech or something like that. Like I don't know. Like you got somebody you talk to.
And I think this is probably the advantage of being quote unquote the interim CEO. We'll see if he becomes the permanent CEO or not. But I feel like this is kind of the advantage of coming in after like somebody really like f***ed up the company, right? Is that you can just admit that your company did everything wrong. And because everybody already knows your company did everything wrong, right? Because if you're a normal CEO and you come out and you say, wow, my company's screwed up, everybody's going to be like, well, I can't believe you would say that. What do you mean?
But if he's got a tattoo, can say it, right?
But one of the last things that he was talking about, he's talking about the software and everything like that. But he said, to be clear, this is still our problem to solve. And I appreciate that, right? Because like at the end of the day, I understand that there's many different pieces of technology. But the thing that I always harp on is that the stuff worked until these dang updates last year. And that's what screwed everything up. And like, that's all I want. I just want recognition that it's not my stuff, even though it's my stuff. I understand it's my stuff at this point. But like, it's nice to have that. And I'm going through the 4 or 5 things that he sent me to try to fix. And I'm going to see if they work. One of the things that he said though is that, he said maybe you could swap out your Wi-Fi router for some fancier mesh thing. And I don't agree with that, Tom. I got a pretty fancy Wi-Fi system, but we'll try to get it resolved. I have a dedicated, just like Ubiquiti AC mesh, like the little 2 antenna outdoor access point now that I'm just using for my Sonos. Like that's it. Because the U7 Pro Max works for literally everything else in my house. I don't have any issues. It's literally just the Sonos. But I have 30 Wi-Fi devices and half of them are Sonos. So I need to get the Wi-Fi issue fixed.
And I think the key point there was it worked before the update. Right. So they obviously broke something at the update. And I like that he's saying, it's our problem to fix. Well, yeah, it is your problem to fix. Right? Because you broke it. So you fix it, And but when you go through regular support, you don't get those kind of answers. You just get the cookie cutter, change this channel.
Well, they have a script they have to walk through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of the other things he said, to be clear, I'm not blaming your setup or your Wi-Fi. We sell the system and say this works, so it's our job to make it work. And it's like, that's 100%.
I was blaming your Wi-Fi.
Well, no, I know what he's saying, though, is like our system's supposed to work no matter what your Wi-Fi is.
Right.
If you have a crappy Wi-Fi, well, we have Sonos Net that gets around all that, but the newer speakers don't use Sonos Net, so they've obviously moved away from that.
Yeah, and that's the problem I have with most of the problems I have now are literally my Era 100 and 300 devices. Like everything else for the most part works, but my 100 and my 300s are the ones that I have the choppy audio issues with. And at this point, I have all Wi-Fi devices. None of my stuff is hardwired. I did make the mistake that when I submitted the ticket, I had hardwired my Beam in the office because I was having issues with that. And I was stupid, and I submitted the diagnostic with the Beam hardwired. And I guess what I didn't realize is that even if you just plug in one legacy device with Sonos Net and you plug it into the Ethernet, that it kicks over a lot of stuff over to Sonos Net then, even if you have the Wi-Fi set up. And so what he was saying is that what's possibly happening, because I have the Sonos Arc with Era 100s for surrounds in the living room, and then I have Era 100s in the kitchen, because the Arc is actually using Sonos Net from the office, that the audio sync to the kitchen to the Era 100s is going over Wi-Fi then, and it's doing some kind of weird conversion thing, and that's what's messing it up as well. And like, all of that makes sense. Why couldn't support just tell me that?
Yeah, and you're doing some pretty intense, like you're syncing video, like live video, right? From one room to the other over, I will say like maybe the Sonos Net is janky Wi-Fi, right? That's what you're trying to do?
What do you mean?
So you're sending, like, you've talked about this in the past, like you're sending video from like the video of your TV, whatever your TV is playing, like live video, like it's transcoding that video audio feed and broadcasting it over Wi-Fi to another speaker who has to in turn decode whatever that audio was and play it out.
Well, so
are you having to skip things with just regular old music?
No, so we literally don't use the Sonos speakers for music. We only use it for TVs, but the TVs are done via HDMI. They have nothing to do with the Sonos.
No. But the audio is what is getting, like, the audio has to get converted digitally to ones and zeros, right? It's got to be spit out and streamed in real time.
Right.
To the next room over and not have any perceivable delay. Like we're talking like within milliseconds before your eyes are going to and ears are going to hear a difference, right?
Right.
So that's pretty intensive, and it's a stream. I can understand like how things fall apart pretty quickly and easily. And it would, like, the dropping is basically like giving up and stopping. That's why, like, when people are on Zoom, like, and we have them on the show or whatever, we're like, hey, I know you're on Zoom, but like you need a hardwire, like,
yeah,
because your Wi-Fi, as good as you think it is, like, it's Wi-Fi was not designed for streaming video, like, at all. Well, it doesn't work.
But I'm not streaming video over Wi-Fi though.
Well, no, it's like it doesn't stream anything very well. Like, it's not designed for that. It's designed to like download a web page.
Yeah.
And then like now we're trying to do all this multimedia stuff, and that's why we're getting faster and faster Wi-Fi. That's why we're getting like higher bandwidth, Wi-Fi 7. I was listening to Connected today, and they're talking about like how Wi-Fi is great, Wi-Fi 7 is great, and you get like super lower millisecond delays, and like it's still Wi-Fi. Like if you just hardwire, you don't have to have Wi-Fi 7. Like it's so much better. You don't have packet loss. Like it doesn't exist. Like millisecond delays, like microseconds. Like, come on. But I can see like how older technology, encoding, decoding, like, first off, the streaming across your network with all the other stuff going on in your network at the same time, with this weird Sonos Net thing that just pops in, right? And just like starts working. Like, where is it getting the audio from? And these are just dumb devices. Like like you said, it's their thing to fix. They need to fix it.
Yeah.
But I can understand how it's happening, especially with like live audio being synced with live video. That's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and that was actually, so I'll just say the fixes that he told me, just to give everybody an idea of what they wanted me to try at least. One of the option was changing the compression for the ARC from automatic to compressed, the audio compression there. Basically removing Sonos Net from the beam, so disconnecting the hardwire, which I did anyway because it doesn't need to be hardwired. The other option was changing the group delay on the ARC from the default of 75 milliseconds to like up to 2,000 milliseconds. I tried that. That was god awful.
2 seconds? Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, that was not good, and especially because like the room that I have the most issues with is the kitchen, which is right next to the living room, and you could like tell that was. So I tried that for like a second. One of the other one was pulling the Ethernet from the beam, which I already said, and then changing the Wi-Fi system. So all pretty standard stuff. But like I said, the biggest annoyance was that like I called tech support like 2 or 3 times and was on the phone for him for an hour, and like nobody just like told me to do this stuff. They just had me change my Sonos Net channel repeatedly.
Yeah,
and like that's ultimately where like everything fell apart, right? Because I was confused. I'm like, why am I changing the Sonos Net channel? And I asked the person that, and they're like, well, we just got to change it. And I'm like, well, I want to know why though. Like
it says on my script that's what we're supposed to do.
And so like, but that makes sense because I didn't realize that when I plugged it in that everything defaulted to Sonos Net automatically, even if it was already connected to Wi-Fi. So I'm going to try these things out. We'll see how it goes, and I'll call Tom and I'm going to ask him to be on the show. He's not going to join, but that's fine. You miss all the shots you don't take. So
yeah, let's see if we can get him on. I mean, it'd be fun to talk to him. I was just kind of looking around to see what like perceivable audio delay is, and people generally will notice like under 10 milliseconds is perfect. Like nobody will notice that. 20 milliseconds starts to be kind of noticeable, but most people kind of will really start picking something up if it's over 80 milliseconds. So that first setting is definitely which way you want to go if you're...
Yeah, saying that's the default one is 75, so...
And in a good world, you're getting the streaming and audio synced up under that 75. Mm-hmm. You know, everything goes perfectly.
I've always had like voice and video sync issues with my Sonos stuff on my main TV with the surround sound system. I always found that when it went into whenever I played 5.1 surround sound stuff, the sync was off. It was off.
Mhm.
When it was just playing stereo, it was fine. So the only way I really got around it is, I have a little plug-in that detects what's playing and auto adjusts the delay and syncs everything back up. I killed the problem, I used the missile to kill that.
Yeah, no
the
kidding.
hammer and that nail. You know what I mean?
Literally not available for anyone else in this world.
Exactly. But if for the regular person, I don't know how you would have gotten around that, because I was looking at devices that were out there that would adjust the syncs and stuff and take care of it for you, because it was a known problem. But I've never really looked into it since I solved it my way.
Yeah, and it just comes down to, once again, Sonos is the only product I use in my house, minus Home Assistant, and Home Assistant's constantly under beta, so I can't really fault them for that. Sonos is the only product in my whole house that I constantly have to babysit. Nothing else in my house has this much issue. And I think that's a matter of complication for whole house audio, because whole house audio is difficult to do. But it's also just shit technology at this point, right? And they rewrote the app and they somehow made it worse. But it is a Sonos issue, and they really do need to fix it. Because the only other thing that I've ever used in my life that requires babying like this is video distribution. If you use Just Add Power or something like that, you have to use special switches and you have to have special settings and configurations and all that stuff. And that makes sense because you're sending 4K over Ethernet wire. And that makes sense to me. But that's the only other thing I've ever used in my life that requires so much babying.
Usually when it's working, it's working. I don't know.
Right.
But when it breaks, you have a problem though. Supporting someone over the phone when their TV doesn't match up with anything that they're seeing or doing, and it's not changing. Oh my gosh, it just adds such a high level, it's so confusing to troubleshoot video distribution. So yeah, I agree on that. Sonos is maybe kind of in that vein. They have that weird Matrix thing that we were kind of looking at, the little port 1400 thing.
Yep.
That's really all they've had, and they've only had that for years. It's I really wish they would.
Yeah, that only works with Sonos Net too. If you have the newer stuff, which is on Wi-Fi, it doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't work.
And there's no documentation around how to read this stuff. It's just, I've found some third-party articles.
If it's green, it's good.
Is it green, Gavin? Is it green? Don't worry about it.
Mine are all white, so I think it's because they don't use Sonos Net.
Not using Sonos Net,
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
if they don't use Sonos Net, they don't show up at all, as far as I know. So I know that's true for the newer speakers. I don't know if that's true for the older speakers.
Yeah, so but I wish they had a document on how to read this or what.
Because mine are just blank.
But no, they don't. Because I'm just trying to figure out if it's even broadcasting Sonos Net at this point, but there's no documentation to tell me how to do that.
I wish they would update that to kind of, support their newer only Wi-Fi getting on devices that don't have the Sonos Net. It seems like they're in a product transition too, between not wanting to do a Sonos Net anymore, still having to support a lot of those devices out there in the field, and then wanting to update their app and screw that up, and introduce headphones. It seems like they have a lot going on, and clearly no one was asleep at the wheel.
Maybe you could pass along that suggestion. You have the ear of the top guy. Yeah. Just say, hey, you need some documentation around this stuff for us installers.
Or just make it better. Make it work where it makes sense, where it's not just this, weird numbering system they have there. And it's if it's yellow, I don't know if it's that good. Is yellow good? Is it yellow bad?
If it's yellow, let it mellow.
It's green and yellow.
You guys need some kind of Sonos, like a bridge kind of device. You know what I mean? Like an amp or like a boost, something like that.
Yeah, or they could just put an LLM over the top of everything and be oh, here's your problem.
That will solve it. Yeah, there you go.
Sonos with AI.
Get the one that TJ was talking to.
Good or bad, I think we're on a Sonos streak right now of talking about Sonos in every show for a number of months now.
They deserve it.
Well,
we need this new streaming device. Maybe I'll ask Tom.
Ask him to join the show. Say, hey, Tom, we've talked about your company for 5 months straight now. Every show mentions something. Come on the show.
I even predicted your predecessor getting fired
to the day.
Exact date.
You should actually send them the link to that.
We even wrote a song about you.
Yeah. Well, so in other good news, I guess better news. I don't know. I got the new Aqara G5 Pro. Nano. This is the camera we talked about a week or two ago. It comes in Wi-Fi or PoE. I got the PoE option. Aqara sent me this. I didn't pay for it. The pros of it is that it has great nighttime quality. It's got color night vision, which is, for me, is mandatory on any camera nowadays. It's only $200. The setup with the Aqara app was super easy. The PoE option is nice. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's kind of like a weird camera hardware design, because it basically, like, it kind of looks like an indoor camera, because it has like a stand, kind of like Wise cameras do, where like you like lift it up and then you can like rotate it around and stuff. That's how this one is, which means that the wire for the camera itself is outside of the body of the camera, which is typical. But there's nowhere to hide the wire. And there's no junction box or anything that comes with it, because there would no reason to be. And so like the wire's just like outside the camera.
I think we saw this on their marketing images where they're just like, yeah, we don't know what to do with this wire, so we'll just make it fade away.
Yeah. And like, for me, like if you have a security camera, having the wire like exposed is kind of silly. Like I've never had an issue of somebody cutting a wire, but like somebody could just walk up to my house. My soffits aren't that high. They can grab those garden shear things they use to like chop branches off, and they could just cut my wire if they really wanted to.
That's what I usually
do. You can get your finger off with those and get to your house too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, or your palm, I guess. But yeah, that was the weird things. I'm gonna not recommend this camera though. The biggest reason I'm not gonna recommend this camera is because of the recording options. The recording options are good if you're a nerd and you want to run your own server like Gavin does, because there is no local recording option.
I'm a nerd.
I hate to tell you this. It has RTSP, which is nice for the nerds like Gavin. But it has 7 gigabytes of built-in storage if you buy it from Amazon. If you buy it from a brick and mortar store like Best Buy, it has 32 gigs of storage for some reason. It doesn't have a micro SD card slot. And so there's basically no local storage on it. The most annoying thing, though, is that you can't even download videos without a subscription.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
So something happens, an incident happens, and you have to have a subscription in order to watch it, in order to download it, sorry.
The power of being a nerd.
Yeah, Gavin can watch.
I don't have these kind of problems.
I can't even use it with Unify Protect though, because it doesn't support OnVIF.
They said that's coming, but yeah,
RTSP.
No, OnVIF. They said they will be adding that. Somebody said that from Aqara in the forums, but I mean, who knows when that's gonna come? But
look, if they add that, I'll recommend it because I can use that at that point. But like right now, I can't record anything because I'm not a nerd. I don't run my own server anymore. And I'm not going to fire up Blue Iris just for this silly little camera.
And they want you to sign up for their subscription. I guess that's where they're pushing you towards, is getting into their subscription, into their environment, so you can do all that stuff, which, it's business.
Yeah, and it's things because I honestly do like the camera. Like if I was starting out today, and I didn't have to worry about the storage options that I just discussed. If I was starting out today and I just bought a house, and maybe I wanted a HomeKit secure video, or maybe if it supported OnVIF, I could bring it into Unify Protect. I would buy these for every single camera because they're pretty good. They have good nighttime quality. The camera it replaced, it like blows them out of the water. And I had pretty decent cameras to begin with. So I think if they fix the storage option, this would be a good go-to camera, specifically because you can do PoE or Wi-Fi. Obviously, they are separate cameras. They don't have that together, so you'd have to buy the Wi-Fi model or the PoE model. But for $200, I don't think you're going to get any easier than this.
Yeah. And that's the most honest review I've probably heard about this from anybody. Watching those YouTube reviews that come out the day it's released obviously are sponsored, and this is the greatest camera ever in the world, and the ultimate camera, and blah blah blah. But thanks for being honest with us, TJ.
Well, like I said, they keep sending me these devices even though I talk fairly about them, so we'll see how long that happens. But I do think it's a good camera, and I like it. I like using it. The people detection works great, but the storage option, it's so baffling.
Who would you recommend this for then?
I mean, anyway, that honestly, HomeKit, if you're looking for a HomeKit secure video camera, this is what I would probably recommend right now, because I don't know of any other really good options, especially for outdoor cameras. So if you're in the HomeKit secure video land and you need a HomeKit camera, this is the one I would go with.
Okay.
Well, there you go. A glowing recommendation.
TJ's Honest Reviews.
TJ's Honest Reviews.
That's right.
Brought to you by
TJBHD.
you just took the you're just going to destroy that company now.
Well, you did share some of the pictures of it. I saw on social media and in the hub as well.
Yes.
The camera picture did look pretty good on it.
Yeah.
Wasn't terrible. I
mean, for $200, I don't know if you're going to get any better than that, honestly.
I'm excited that sensor, whatever they're using, is coming to more cameras. I was just looking over at Univiews because those are the first ones that I know that came out with that thing. They've got a 2 megapixel, a 4 megapixel, and an 8 megapixel line now, but they're all using like fixed 2.8 millimeter or 4 millimeter lens options. And that's like, there's no PTZ option. There's, whatever technology they're using in here doesn't lend itself to anything outside these 3 different chassis, I guess. Bullet, dome, and what do you call it? Turret, I guess, is the not bullet. The thing you can stick outside that's not going to get dirty. Anyway, they're significantly more expensive. I've seen them. I'm just kind of like going through and seeing them retailing. They're retailing for like maybe 100, 150 more, maybe even as high as $200 more. So yeah, that's a decent price, and it does HomeKit secure video out of the box. Not terrible.
Yeah, the only problem with HomeKit secure video, I think it limits it to 1080p right now, so you couldn't take a full advantage of what this camera can do. But
yeah,
I think it's all right.
All right,
that's Apple's problem.
All right, well, there you go. I think that's going to wrap up this week. We had a lot to talk about. See, we wait one day. Amazon has an event, so we could talk about it, and we talk for almost 2 hours.
That's a long episode.
A lot of Sonos.
So much Sonos. Hopefully we stop talking about Sonos. I don't this is one of those products like Lutron where you just don't want to talk about because it just works.
Yeah, you just want to say it's great. That's it.
Yeah, like Lutron comes out with like a new like paddle switch every like 5 years, and you're like, "Woo, new product, woo!" And then like that's it, and that's how I want to feel about Sonos.
Like a piece of the infrastructure in your house. It's like it's all you shouldn't have to. Right. You shouldn't have to know that it doesn't work. Like it just works. What a different world we live in. All right. Well, we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather in there every day and talk about how fast the Mastodon server is working, because I forgot to mention that I was updating that thing, and Gavin is kind of happy that I'm
kind of happy. You're almost
on my way.
The latest version, but you're doing a good job, Seth.
Yeah, they just did an update, so I'm gonna have to go back and get it. But it's easier now. Anyway, it's happening. We're getting there, slowly but surely. Anyway, if you want to help out but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in whatever podcast app you're listening to. That's going to wrap up the week here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.
Oh, I'm making that my text alert.
It's so good. It's the echo that it has. It's like sounds.
Yes. Oh my God.